calculator that I am recommending folks to use again, so we have a standard calculation and form that we're all using. So the first thing you want to do is determine if you've got hand piles or machine piles. When you click machine piles, it gives you more options, and when you click the hand piles, it reduces the options. For this demo, I'm going to go ahead with machine piles. Next thing you want to do is name your unit. This will help you identify your tonnage later on when you export this out onto your computer and save it. Put in your number of piles within that unit, and then you want to select your pile shape, and you'll find that depending on what you select, your pile shape and the dimensions it requests change. Usually I've seen people pick this half sphere, and that ends up being bigger than what you think it is. If you put that the height is 16 feet, what you're going to have is that it's also 16 feet here and 16 feet here, the radius, so it would be actually 32 feet wide, and so people mess it up a lot. So pay attention to your dimensions. I usually end up using either a paraboloid, which asks for a width and a height. It's assuming that it's totally circular, or I use a half ellipsoid, because most piles really aren't perfectly cylindrical. They usually have more of an oval shape. So in this option, you get to put in your width, your length, and your height. So 20 for our width, we'll say 18 foot for our height, and let's go with 16 for our length. Your next bit of question is your pile soil estimation. How much dirt, how much soil is put in your pile that maybe the cat, when it built it, the dozer pushed into it, or buckets. They can be very dirty. Now, if you're having trouble understanding what the questions are, you can always go to the help menu here, and it'll bring up what exactly it's asking for. So in this case, pile volume adjustment. Some piles may contain significant percentage of soil within the pile or matter beneath it. What this does is it reduces the gross pile volume by using the estimate of the percentage pile occupied. And then when you get to the next question, it takes that gross volume and it combines it with your packing ratio, which you just select down here. They just give you three options: 10%, 20%, or 25%. Long needle pines or broadleaf deciduous, with the mean diameters of your large woody fields being less than 10 inches, or short needle conifers. Or if you have a really highly compacted pile with large logs, then you could pick up to this. Now all these selections make a big difference in your final tonnage, so you really want to pay attention to what you're putting in. Obviously, in your pile consumption, or composition, excuse me, you pick your primary species and your secondary species. You just have an easy drop-down list to pick from, and you want to make sure that your percentages equal 100. If you have all Pondo or all Doug or all some species, you can put in 100% there, but it gives you the options for 2. Then your pile quality. It seems like it's asking the same question as up here. It's used for a different equation, so you just pick, is it 0, there's no soil, really clean, or is it less than 0 to 10%, or is it more than 10%? And most piles are generally in this range. And then your consumption here, it gives a little note that the default for consume is 90%, and the default for Washington's estimate is 85%. So if you're on the east side, you might be getting 95% consumption, and if you're on the west side, maybe you're only getting the 85%. So put in your estimation on how much of that pile is going to consume. You add your pile group, and then if you want, you can do a second pile group. Let's say you have some large piles and small piles. You could put a second group in there and give it the same name that you labeled the first one. Put in how many piles you've got. Put in your numbers. After you get all the information there, you click your add pile group. When you're done adding all your pile groups, you can scroll to the bottom and it tells you what you've put in there, and then you can click done and run calculator, and then it gives you your summary of what you put in there. So here's both. We've got half pondo, half dug for both of these. They're both dirty. They're both 90% consumption, 3% soil, a width of 20, a height of 18, a width of 20, a height of 18. This has a slightly smaller length, so it would be a slightly smaller pile, but you can see the differences. So your gross, your biomass tons would be 359 for these 40 piles up here, and then your second pile group of 10 was only 84. And then it takes the consumption. It says 90% of that was this. And so these are the numbers right here, this consumed tons. These are the numbers you want to report when you're registering your unit and planning your unit for either the smoke database or fast tracks. So anyways, it's a very good, easy tool to use. I recommend folks use it, and we'll see you out there.